Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the North Shore 9 podcast presented by FanDuel. This is the very first 2026 NS9 postgame show powered by Permane Brothers. Ty, Pirates win today, 8-7. We are talking about the spring breakout game. So it's just prospects, but hey, it's still a victory. It's our first one. I think you and I talked backstage a bit here. I don't know what to do with my hands. This is a very,
I know. I'm out of practice.
It feels
here.
weird.
Yeah, this is our first spring training start.
There it is. This is us getting back into the groove. Will I go 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, say like Connor Griffin?
Only if you hit like 4 home runs before that.
Okay. Anyways, I think the highlight of the game is exactly how the title of the show is exactly how this game started. You are the pitching yinzas. So I think here's what we'll do the show a bit. I think I'm going to throw things at you because I think today it showcased a lot of pitching, and it started with Seth Hernandez.
Woo, buddy. In all reality, I think that's most of this show, and what it's going to be is the arms. It's the arms, man. Seth Hernandez got to start. And are there things I think that you would love to see go better for him? Like, sure, you'd love to see the command be better with him. But holy mother of God, that changeup, brother. It got an audible O from me. Like, I've seen it on video, but you don't have the TV angle. Like, you don't get to see the movement of it. It got a O. The separation he gets with the velo, like, impressive. Just plain and simple, impressive. 102, first pitch of the game, like Max Clark is wowed by it. It's hard not to be excited by Seth Hernandez.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I made a story on our IG as the game was going, just kind of promote the post-game show afterwards. And I got a little late on it. So I really did the story like as soon as the game happened, right? And immediately the first pitch, 102, and my jaw just dropped. Again, that's the first pitch. And now, granted, like it's the breakout game. You're only going out there for one inning, so you're probably pumped up a bit. You're going max effort. It's still 102, and he's still 19-year-old. He's a child. Like I said, like a year ago, he was probably sleeping in study hall or watching March Madness in school. And now he's here showcasing himself on MLB, pumping 102, 102.4 also. This wasn't a gimme on a radar gun. Like, oh, it was 101.8. It was 102.4. He hit 102 multiple times. He hit over 100 11 times in one inning. And here's the thing. And you're talking about the changeup.
Right. I glossed over the 102 first pitch of the game. And then like
it's not even glossing over. It's just the fact that the changeup is what's sexy.
19-year-olds don't have a changeup like that. Plain and simple. There's a reason a lot of guys end up as relievers. They don't have that third pitch. In my opinion, it's a lot easier to develop the breaking ball. We'll get to it, but I think he's got something cooking with that. We're okay there. But having that third pitch already, like we talk about Jared Jones all the time, and it's fastball slider. We'd like to see him have that third pitch. Mitch Keller's added a pitch every single season, it feels like. Paul Skeens has like 12 pitches.
Yeah.
But, man, like we're not even talking about like a 92. When you're throwing 102, changeup, if he's throwing the changeup at like 91, 92, in general, it's like that's a good bit of separation. He's got good movement on that. No, he's throwing that thing at 85, 86. And the movement it created, like, yeah, I'm all in on Seth Hernandez. I know he didn't throw a ton of strikes. He threw one inning tonight. Like, I just needed to see the changeup. I need to see the fastball at 102. I'm all in, man. I'm all in. There are some other things that, like, and we can get to them later, but Yeah, I'm all in.
Again, like you'd have to bring it out. He threw 1 inning. He walked the very first 2 batters, which even teased. There was one where he could have challenged it, but he was like, I was scared. I'm not gonna do that. And I get that. He's a 19-year-old kid, also a pitcher. That's something you'd probably want the catcher to do. But there was a ball that you could have challenged, and maybe that prevented a walk. Either way, he walked 2 guys. It's not ideal. He threw 21 pitches, 10 for strikes. Again, not ideal. It's 1 inning. It's his, like he hasn't had any pitching, under his belt as far as like professional, like this is really the first taste most people have been able to see of him. So this wasn't a results oriented game for me, for them, for anyone. It's a showcase, right? He showcased his stuff. He showcased it in a big way. Well, just like this title says, he is filthy.
Plain and simple, filthy. Like 19-year-olds don't have stuff like that. I feel awful for every single kid that's just like at some JUCO somewhere, just taking like communication classes that had to face this kid last year. You poor fellas.
Yeah. We joke like over and over again too, because like you saw his high school, like the whole team got plucked in the draft, and you see him, and it's like, how did they not win the state title? I don't know, but to go back to the changeup, to something that you and Jim have certainly harped on quite a bit. It's the thing you look for in prospects is the changeup. If you have a really, really good changeup, that probably bodes well for you, because that's probably the hardest pitch you can develop. And that's what he came in here with. The dude's got a legit changeup. He's got a legit slider. We didn't really get to see it, but he's got a legit slider. And Alex Stump talked about it also on Offbeat, this morning. We saw the curveball.
Yeah. I love a good curveball, man. Like, I feel like we've fallen in love with the slider so much, and the slider's kind of morphed into this slurvy sweeper. Yeah, I know we call it a sweeper, but it's slurve. It was a true curveball. And he creates a good bit of separation between the velo with a lot of his pitches. You don't see that at that age. And I think just watching him, you can see that the command, I don't think, is going to be a major issue. Like a lot of guys, I think you see when they're developing, you see the control issues. It's pretty apparent why. Like, they're hard to repeat their mechanics. I didn't really see much of that tonight. He's definitely a max effort guy, and that's one thing that does concern me, is that it seems like he's really selling out for the velo, which might have just been a today thing because it was a showcase type of deal.
And that is why I don't want to put too much stock into
right.
Just to say,
but mechanically, he looked pretty repeatable. He was around the zone enough. Like when he missed, he didn't miss by a ton. He's a little bit wild, but yeah, I'm excited to see him really throw in. Alex said it earlier. He wouldn't be shocked if he ends up in Altoona by the end of the year. After tonight, I wouldn't either.
He might need to start in Altoona. That's sarcasm for the people on Facebook. No, I'm joking. Right. But no, for real, he's showing what he has. And again, he's 19 years old. Paul Skeens, Connor Griffin, and now we're seeing Seth Hernandez. The book's still out on Connor Griffin and clearly on Seth Hernandez, right? He hasn't, again, he hasn't really pitched professional baseball. This is the first taste you're seeing of him. But of what we've seen so far of him, and of course, Connor Griffin, man, these past 3 draft picks, this is every reason why I was just saying, and it's me, like a lot of people, but it was like, if he falls at number 6, which is seemed like more and more, the closer we got to the draft, that could happen. If he falls to 6, I don't care if it's a high school arm. Like, go get him. And the Pirates did, and we're seeing why.
For sure. I mean, there's a reason he was touted as one of the best high school right-handed prospects in a very long time.
Yeah.
102 doesn't happen overnight. That doesn't grow on trees. They got something here. Shout out Justin Horwitz.
Shout out Justin Horwitz. But also shout out to the guy that was on the TV screen tonight too. Want to talk about him a tad here?
Sure.
No, I mean the development of this system. Like we talk about the draft, but you also have to develop them. And they had talking in regards of like just the culture. Like we want to bring a winning culture here, and like that's something we talked about a long time ago, over and over, pretty recent. And it's like you're seeing a shift in this system. Even like Greg Brown said it, that we've kind of been not like laughing stock, but there's a big slide that happened. They're towards the bottom, and there's a shift, and now arguably one to three. Depending on who you're talking to, as far as like the prospect rankings and stuff, the third best or top best farm system in baseball. And it's like today you got to see it showcased. And again, like it's not, granted, Connor Griffin skews that a lot. Like having Connor Griffin in the system does a big thing for that, right? But even without him, you are seeing that there is depth and like real talent depth. So again, what we saw today as a showcase, I think it was mainly the arms you saw, but a lot of live arms.
For sure. And you're referring to Michael Chur now.
Yeah.
What I think is very, very like, it's enjoyable about him, and it's something that's very likable about him and makes you believe in him. He believes in his guys. You can tell he goes to bat for these guys. He believes in them. He believes in the talent. And I think he realizes it's his job to get him there. It's real easy to blame the player. He seems like a guy that really buys into them.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we'll see what happens with it. Like, everyone's in a honeymoon stage right now. It's spring training. We're all happy. It's a prospect game. Guys look good. Things are going well. But right now, I think you see some really positive things.
I agree. I agree. And again, that's not even just because of the spring breakout game. We were talking about it as the season developed last year with players. And you saw like a Florentino, even though he didn't play today. Edward Florentino, you have Esmeralda Valdez, who really broke out last year too, the Arizona Fall League. So like we've been accustomed to the pitching side, recently. Like, what? Maybe they have found something. Maybe they can develop some pitching, but they also are finding ways to develop hitting now to some level. And, like they still have to go to the next level and produce there, but you're actually finding it in the minors that it's happening. So it is nice to see that they are doing that on that end. And, again, like today, we didn't see much from the bats. Let's go into that, though. Tony Blanco Jr. hit a grand slam. He hit a monster. 39 degrees, 106.6 miles an hour, 411 feet. Just a nuke to display what he can do.
Tony's crazy, bro.
Tony's crazy, bro.
Man, we really need to clip that up so I can just drop that at any time. Yeah. Again, he's a guy that just does things that normal people can't do.
Yeah.
I saw someone tweet earlier that like the Pirates love their 99th percentile tools. That's a guy with 99th percentile tool right there. The pitch that he hit 106 that went as high as it could. Normal people don't do that. Like,
yeah,
people don't do that. He hits the ball as hard as anybody in the sport.
Well, and clarify, right? In the sport, not prospects. Like we are talking baseball as a whole, including major leagues. I mean, there's that number out there. He's up there with the Aaron Judges and the Ono Cruzes and, those guys.
There's a lot of warts with him. He's got to figure some things out.
Like the strikes
But
out.
he did challenge a
Just to poke a little fun there.
Yeah.
These are the opportunities he does have to work on.
Right.
Like identifying what's a strike or not.
It was dead metal.
Yeah. Maybe like 2 inches below dead middle, but still pretty middle there, Tony.
Yeah, like what was that old Yankees prospect, Toe Nash or whatever his name was? He's just Toe Nash. He just hits nukes everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of these, obviously, to be in this game, you have to do some things impressively. Nobody, very few people in the sport can hit the ball as hard as that guy can. He hits it like a freaking golf ball. He hits a baseball harder than I hit a golf ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony's
So he
crazy,
had a grand slam, and then he got called out on strikes after he challenged a clear strike. So it's in fun, in light spirit, but Tony kind of showed you exactly what he is. Like, this is why he's this interesting, polarizing prospect, because he has that type of power, and that type of power, like Seth Hernandez's 102, doesn't grow on trees, but his contact rates are pretty poor. The strike, awareness is pretty poor, as we see. So if he can keep improving, and like Carmichael said today, like his biggest thing is that he's not able to stay on the field. So like they're trying to get him on the field, be healthy, so we can go ahead and continue to develop. Because if he can, that's something dangerous there. He's a big boy, and he can hit some power. Outside of that, as far as the hits go, Carmichael had 2 hits as well today. Will Taylor had 2 hits. He had the bunt single. Mr. Outer Banks, Will Taylor. So again, like the offense, there really wasn't much there. Again, it was really all arms. So I think what we'll do here is let's cut to a break. Let's come back and let's kind of talk about the rest of these arms and what the Pirates farm's looking like in that sense. How's that sound?
Love it.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
64,000.
6400. I love Cody. And I'll tell you what. So again, this is our spring training, right? I'm trying to get back into the vibe of post-game shows and such. And I'm kind of missing the chat here. So I do want to say, we did announce it before the show, and that's why. Like, we aren't giving away sandwiches today. That's going to be in the regular season. This is just some of our spring training. This is our warm-up. So we appreciate the Raisits. For those that are tuning in, maybe you're not aware, hey, we are sponsored by Permane Brothers. They do our post-game show, and during the regular season and playoffs, this hasn't happened yet, but if those do happen one day, we will give away sandwiches for every Pirates victory. So we give away 4 sandwiches, 2 to 2 winners. But again, not tonight. So with that said, Ty, let's talk about these arms.
Let's do it. where do you want to start from there? Because a lot of guys threw.
Well, we could go in order and talk about Xander Meath, who didn't look good. Unfortunately, he's probably about the only arm that just did not look good. Now, oddly enough, he was breaking bats today. He had some stuff going. He had some bad defense behind him, but there was a lot of contact being made. Wasn't exceptionally good at all. He gave up, 4 runs, 3 earned in 0.1 innings. So again, it wasn't good. He hasn't had, I think, the greatest start to his career, but there is certainly a lot of intriguing things with him.
Yeah, he's the guy that Alex talked about on Offbeat again today, along with Seth Hernandez. So if you look at, he threw 9 strikes, 21 pitches. Seth Hernandez threw 10 strikes and 21 pitches. The difference isn't a ton there. It's 1 pitch. But I think you could see the difference in the two guys. Xander Meath was erratic. It looks like it's very raw. There's definitely stuff to work with him. The stuff, he's here because the stuff is legit. But it's a lot more raw. He's going to take some time. That's really where it's at with him, I think. He's just a little bit too erratic right now.
That's fair. And again, I kind of look at this as, it also was just 1 inning. It's still spring training. I don't put too much stock in a lot of this stuff, but it was not Seth Hernandez. When you're talking about purely just strikes and balls, they were basically the same, but one was a lot closer. One was missing bats, and the other one really wasn't. But again, that's also why Seth Hernandez is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Best prospect pitchers in baseball. And Xander Meath, he has some interesting stuff. But also, again, I want to stop and say, he does have some interesting stuff. And I think with this goes to what we're going to say with the rest is there's a lot of live arms. And, I think one thing I'm noticing right now is maybe a shift. I'm talking the old school Pirate ways where they're going after talent, not so much pitchability. It's just dude, can you throw? We'll figure it out. And they've done a pretty decent job at figuring it out.
Well,
but
as you talk, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you were just mentioning pitchability, and I was going to jump all the way ahead to a guy they talked about pitchability to, but you can finish your thought there. Because my thought was about Levi Sterling. Jonathan Mayo was in there talking about pitchability with him.
And then he was all over the place.
We're still talking, but we're still talking about a guy that plays at 96, 97. He probably won't play like that as a starter. But he's another guy, when you watch him throw, I think you can tell the pitchability's there. I think his command's a lot better than he showed today. You saw him missing bats. He was impressive to me. And even in just his very, very short stint there, but you can see it whenever they throw.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guy that I think you can see it with. And you can see he's not far off. He could be a guy that really takes a jump.
And that's also a guy from the jump when he got drafted. I think all of us was really in favor of that pick. So again, it's funny because he is the one they talk about pitchability, and he wasn't finding the zone that much. And they even joked about it on the broadcast, right. Which again goes to why the results today don't matter too much in the grand scheme of things. But it is nice to see the showcase and see them pitch. But yeah, I wanted to go to this because I just found this interesting. Because again, I know Seth Hernandez is a unicorn, and as you mentioned, 11 pitches over 100 miles an hour, so he's going to fill up this. But it wasn't just him. A lot of guys pitched today, and I'll put this number out there. 81 pitches were thrown today over 96 miles an hour. 6 of them were by the Tigers pitchers. 76 were by Pirates pitchers. Taking another level, 28 pitches over 98 miles an hour, 1 by a Tiger. 27 by Pirates pitchers. I mean, they were pumping today. And again, like it's kind of going to show I'm talking here is like there's just a lot of live arms, and they've done a very good job of developing them.
They have. They have. I mean, it was every guy that came out was 95 plus.
And that wasn't their only pitch.
Right.
Now, some were better than some secondaries was better than others, but they were showing their stuff today, man.
There were probably 2 or 3 guys that threw today that could probably go into the bullpen right now and be better than the 7th or 8th guy in the pen.
So let's start there, even though the show's about over. So who are those guys? Like who stood out?
Well,
other than, of course, the Seth Hernandez of the world.
Seth Hernandez, I think, could obviously go into a bullpen tomorrow. Like that stuff, stupid. Wilbur Dotel, I think, is another guy that you could probably put into a bullpen tomorrow, and he could be a major league reliever. Benoit is another guy. And let me just say, Navarro from the left side, 98, 99. That's an interesting name to watch here.
Dude, he looked sick.
Yeah.
And that was funny. That's when they're talking about the whole pitchability. Like he was the one throwing strikes where he's the wild card. You know, he's all over the place.
Right.
He's got good stuff. Whereas Levi Sterling's the opposite. And for today, their time, you know, their short stint, they looked the opposite in that sense. But yeah, Navarro looked filthy.
Yeah, he obviously there's the command issues, or control issues, whatever you want to call them. But if he's cleaned some of this stuff up, and we'll see how it goes throughout the season. But from the left side, what he's bringing, it plays. It definitely plays.
Who else?
You got Christian Curtis, man.
I'm glad you bring him up.
I know you wanted me to bring him up, but I love the way he plays the fastball at the top of the zone. You could tell the intent of doing that. He's got some potential there. I was pretty impressed by Christian Curtis today.
How about him dropping the curveball at the top of the zone too?
Yeah. But in all reality, I was impressed by the way he was able to locate the fastball and do what he wanted to do with it. Because I think you look at another guy that is some people are going to be high on this year, Jeter Martinez. I think he struggles with playing the fastball up a little bit. He likes to locate down a good bit, and it's going to make him a little bit hittable. But Christian Curtis, I think you could see that stuff playing at the major league level pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the guys that, you know, you're seeing like develop before our eyes last year in the minors, and like he was one of them. And of course, they talk on the broadcast, he was part of those perfect games. But I just want to bring this up, and I don't even know if this just happened to come on my timeline coincidentally, or it was because of Curtis or whatnot. But there was a video on my timeline, and it was of Rich Hill, and that's why I want to bring this up too, because it was after I saw the curveballs, which were nasty. I mean, those just dropped right at the top of the zone. But it was Rich Hill talking about, and this must have been from years ago, because he was talking about like in the future if ABS were to happen, which I'm sure it's going to. He was talking about how like curveballs at the top of the zone would be a thing. You know, like right now, you're not getting those calls in baseball. You just do not get those calls, but there's still strikes. You know, everyone's focused about hitting the bottom of the zone, hitting the bottom of the zone, hitting the bottom of the zone. He's like, top of the zone is still a strike. And he goes, once the ABS comes in, he goes, those aren't going to get called by umps, but it's a strike, you know, and if it gets challenged, it's still a strike. He's like envisioning, he's like, I can see a big shift in baseball if when ABS comes, that curveballs top of the zone are going to be a thing. And then, like I said, like Christian Curtis was doing that today, and the wheels, you know, it's like, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, they looked pretty.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And it plays off of playing that fastball up there. Like if you can flip that curveball in there as well and tunnel it, you're going to be able to be effective. Like, you'll find a role in the major leagues. Didn't walk anybody. He was around the zone all night. He was impressive. Like, in all reality, pretty much every arm was impressive, and they gave up 7 runs.
Yeah. But and then Benoit closes it out. He ends it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy that you're talking about bullpen guys. That's a guy who's probably going to see the bullpen sooner than later on this Pirates team. So it was interesting to see him in there because they were talking him up and what he has, and he showed what he has, and he's probably going to be in Pittsburgh soon. We'll be talking about him on the show probably not too long from now. Hopefully good for good reasons.
Yeah. Hopefully it's because he's banging the door down and just lights out in the minors, but we're going to see Benoit in the majors this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he throws more strikes. He needs to hang out with
overall. Again, my biggest takeaway from today was obviously Connor Griffin's here. He didn't really show out. Now he was mic'd up at short. He played shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
He fielded as he was mid-interview. Thought that was kind of interesting. Good for him. He did a good job out there while being mic'd up. But yeah, like nothing really came out of him. I know there's a lot of talk, a lot of things, a lot of eyes on him at this point in time. But as everyone says, and he kind of just showed, and I'm taking it every day the same. I get my work in, try to have some fun. I'm just focused on it. Everyone talks about his maturity. Like,
yep.
He just seems like a dude.
Yeah. And apparently tonight didn't hurt his odds because FanDuel still has him at a plus 250 and the favorite to win the National League Rookie of the Year.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how you bet against that.
We'll see, but
unless Seth Hernandez is making his debut, maybe there's a chance.
Yeah. I mean, he's an impressive young man. He is.
Right. For sure. So that pretty much wraps it up. Like I said, tonight just seemed like it was the story of the arms. I think when you think about Pittsburgh Pirates farm system, you think of arms, and it was on full display. And some arms, I think the thing too is like these arms also need to take that next step. Like you're looking for some of these to take the next step because there's some tweeners, you know, like your Antoine Kellys, your Dotels, your Curtises, like they're interesting, but like if a few of those can take that next step, I mean, this pipeline of arms just looks so strong.
It does.
Yeah.
And at the very least, you got some trade bait. We saw how it worked this offseason.
Yeah, for sure. Well, does that wrap things up, Ty?
I think it does.
All right. We're less than a week away from real post-game shows.
Yep. Giving away Sammys.
Giving away some sandwiches. We love you all. We appreciate you all. Tune in to Alex's show. Oh, no. Tonight's Friday, so there'll be no
Monday.
show. That's right. It's the weekend now. All right. So then I guess we'll see you guys on Monday. Bucko Brew in the morning. Offbeat by Alex Stump in the morning as well. And then next week is real baseball. It's happening.
Yep. Time to roll, fellas.
That's exciting. We're just like days away from the Connor Griffin extension.
There we go.
Right?
Only
Let's
days.
Get out of here. All right, guys. We love you. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.